Hello everyone. In this particular video, we will be discussing about the group by clause and the having clause in SQL. So to understand these topics better, let us consider an example. Over here, I have a table named employees. This table contains several columns which includes the key details of each employee, like the employee ID, their name, email ID, phone number, the date when they were hired, their salary and their department ID. Now suppose from this table I need to find how many employees work in each department. So for this we will take help of the group by clause. So what group by does is, the group by clause in SQL is used to group the rows by any columns. That is, the group by clause arranges the identical data into groups. So over here what we have to do is, we have to create the groups on the basis of department ID, and we need to find the count of employees working in each department. So what we will do is, we will write the query. You will write select. After select, we will specify the column name basis on which I'll need to form the group. So the column name over here will be department ID, and then what I need to do is, I need to find the count of each employee. So I'll write the aggregate function named count, and since I want the count of distinct employees working in each department, I will write a keyword distinct, and then since I need the distinct employee IDs, I will write employee ID as total employees, and then I need to specify the name of the table from which I need to take the data. So I'll write from the table name employees followed by, since we are grouping on the basis of department ID and we are using an aggregate function, I'll have to use the group by clause over here. So I will write group by, I'll write the column name or the position at which that column is present. So since I need to create the groups based on department ID and department ID is present at the first position, I will write group by 1. And now if I'll execute this query, what I'll get is, I'll get a list of all the department IDs along with the total number of employees working in each department. That is count distinct employee ID. So this is how group by works. What group by does is, it creates groups based on one or more columns and it gives the aggregated values for each group. The aggregated function that we used over here was count. Instead of count, we can use other aggregated functions as well, like min, max, sum, average and many more. So this was about the group by clause. So over here now I have a list of department IDs and total number of employees working in each department. Now suppose I want to get a list of only those department IDs which had minimum 5 employees. So the requirement over here is to filter the output of this query to display only those department IDs having minimum 5 employees. To filter the data, we have already seen where clause, but in SQL we cannot use where clause to filter on the aggregated columns. Over here I need to filter on the total number of employees, that is count distinct employees, which is an aggregated value. Therefore I cannot use where clause to filter on the aggregated values. So for that reason we have another clause, that is the having clause, which is used along with the group by statement to filter on the aggregated columns. So to filter on the aggregated column, after group by I will write having and then the filter condition. Over here the condition will be count of distinct employees should be greater than or equal to 5. And now if I execute this query, I got only those department IDs which had total number of employees greater than or equal to 5. So this is how we can use having clause to filter on the aggregated data along with group by. Now the question over here is, Can we use where clause along with having? The answer is yes. To filter on the non-aggregated columns, we will use where clause, and to filter on the aggregated columns, we will use the having clause. Now suppose I want to display the data for only those department IDs where the department ID is equal to either 50 or 100. So since department ID is a non-aggregated column, that is, we are not using any aggregated function like sum, count, average on the department ID field. Therefore, we can directly use the where clause to filter on the department ID. So I can write where department ID in, I want the department IDs where department ID is either 50 or it's 100. And now if I'll execute this query, here we go. I got the output containing just the two department IDs that we mentioned in the where clause, that is 50 and 100. I hope you got a basic understanding of how the group by and having clause work in a SQL query. If you liked the video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe the channel. Thank you.